Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we will have a look at eviction room and we will be a SOC analyst at E-corporation. Our adversary will be APT28 and what eviction means is we will force them to leave our system. So let's get started. So let's find more about this task. Our E-corporation, which manufactures rare earth metals for government and non-government client. So we received a classified intelligence report that informs about adversary group, which is APT28. We must use MITRE, ATT and CK navigator to identify tactics, techniques and procedures used by APT group and stop if it has already intruded into our network. What is the technique used by APT to both perform reconnaissance and to gain initial access? So let's visit this link. When you see the blue highlights of the word, it means that this technique was used by APT28, which is our adversary, and the victim will be our company, which is E-corporation. So recon is reconnaissance. We need to have both and initial access and some information about us. Vulnerability scanning will not give them the access to our system. It will, however, give them information about us as the system, what our system we use and things like this, which is not the answer to our question. So gather victim identity information, which is credentials in this case. This is also not suitable answer because we do not have in credential any part of our initial access to the system. This will be just the information, not the initial access. So the next part is phishing for the information, which is spear phishing link, and that's exactly what adversary will get the initial access from, and they also could discover some information about our company, so it will be a reconnaissance as well. So the answer will be spear phishing link. Sunny identified that APT might have moved forward from the recon phase, which account my APT compromised by developing resources. So we already moved from here, and we have compromised our accounts. And as we see, it basically could be cloud accounts, email accounts, social media accounts. Our highlighted blue is only email accounts, so that's the only answer we have. Next task is E-corporation has found APT might have gained initial access using social engineering to make the user execute code for the threat actor. Sunny wants to identify if APT was also successful in execution. The two techniques of user execution should Sunny look for. So what is the social engineering? So social engineering is when you try to trick someone to do something they wouldn't do otherwise, like open malicious link or maybe giving you the key to the whole computer lab. So things like this considered to be social engineering. In our case, we will have a look at the execution phase, and in the execution as user execution, so what our user can execute in the system. So it could be malicious file or malicious link. So if we have someone working in our company which can compromise our system by executing malicious link or the file, that will be the technique that adversary will use. This file first. Yes. So, if the above technique was successful, which scripting interpreters should Sunny search for to identify a successful execution? So we need to look for scripting interpreters. So you go here and you see command and scripting interpreter, and we see that our adversary use PowerShell and Windows command shell. So that will be our answer. While looking at the scripting interpreters identified in question 4, Sunny found some obfuscated scripts that change the registry. Assuming these changes are for maintaining persistence, which registry keys should Sunny observe to track those changes? So we need registry keys to identify obfuscated scripts. So we're looking for the register keys, and here we go, registry run keys. Sunny identified that APT executes system binaries to evade defenses. Which system binaries execution should Sunny synchronize for proxy execution? So we're looking for the evade defenses, and here we have evade defenses. The next part we need is system binaries and proxy execution. So we're looking something that is similar, and we found that a system binary proxy execution, and the attack that they use is Randall32. So what is proxy execution? So every time you sign in, you use your username and password. If it's certificate without the timestamp, you could basically use this certificate that is created after you put your credentials, and you store the certificate and use it every time to pretend to be somebody else, and use their login and password to sign into the system. Here's the article that was written it. So we put our answer. Sunny identified TCP dump on one of the compromised hosts. Assuming this was placed there by the threat actor, which technique might the APT be using here for discovery? TCP dump is used for the network sniffing, but we can look it up over here in discovery if there is any specific one that they want us to tell. Discovery, and we go here and we have network sniffing. So that's what will be our answer. It looks like APT achieved lateral movement by exploiting remote services. Which remote services should Sunny observe to identify APT activity traces? So we need to identify activity traces on the remote services. So that's the important part. And we need to look at the section lateral movement, which means the attacker moves from one machine to other using the network. So we look for lateral movement, and here we have. So we need remote services And through all these three categories, the only one that connected to the remote services is MBM Windows admin share, which makes sense because using the admin access, we could access other services. So that will be our answer. It looked like the primary goal of the APT was to steal intellectual property from E-corp's information repositories. Which information repository can be the likely target of the APT? So we need to have a look at the information repositories. Last time we was stopping on lateral movement. After that we go to the collection where we have data from information repositories and what they were storing in a SharePoint. So they most likely wanted to collect data from the SharePoint. Although the APT had collected the data, it could not connect to the C2 for data exfiltration. Towards any attempts to do that, what types of proxy might the APT use? Answer in two techniques. We need to have a look what type of proxy they use, and we know that they couldn't connect to the data exfiltration stage. So between that we have command and control stage, and we're looking for the proxy, and here is our proxy, and the use is written external proxy and multi-hop proxy. You can also right click and press the view technique if you want to know more about it, but we just need to know what kind of techniques they used, and that will be our answer. So external proxy and multi-hop proxy. Press the last button and you get congratulations. I decided to add a secret animal at the end, and today's secret animal is a beaver. Thank you for watching Code on Code.